Everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, January 14th of 2024. It is a beautiful, snowy, cold day here in Utah. And if you live in Utah too, you know that we've had a lot of snow these last few days. I was actually out driving in it with a couple of dinner dates that I set up with some girlfriends. In fact, this past week on Tuesday, I was out with one of my favorite people in the world. And Tracy, I know you watch these, so thank you for an amazing, fun evening. But we sat down to eat at this little restaurant that's up near, it's called On the Bench, which means on the bench of the mountains. So the restaurant sits up where a lot more snow goes when there's higher elevation. So Tracy and I are sitting there. We had a feeling there was going to be some snow coming down, but as we were even waiting to order, the snow started just dumping down, and we're both like, okay, well, we're here. We might as well have a good time. And, we sat there for a couple hours. We had a lovely conversation. We had a beautiful, healthy, delicious meal. And we both got home just fine, navigating through the snow. And then, again, I met up with another friend on Wednesday, and same thing. We just got dumped on. So it's such a beautiful time here in Utah. We depend on the water that comes from the snow. As the snow melt happens, it flows into the valley, and it gives us drinking water. It gives us water for our gardens. So this is just a really beautiful, beautiful time in Utah, especially if you're a person who likes snow and maybe you like the sports that come along with snow, like the skiing and the snowshoeing and just the ice skating, all the beautiful things that come with it, rather than throwing out how cold it is, how miserable it is, how gray the skies are, or whatever. I think this is a really beautiful, the whole idea of living in a place of gratitude. But as I've gone through this last week with, a continual challenge that's kind of, in a way, hanging over my shoulders, I've had, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. I feel like I'm on a really steep roller coaster. In fact, there's a really good book I read a few years ago called Peaks and Valleys. And it just talks about, in all of our lives, we have moments where we feel like we're on top of the mountain. We're on the peak. Everything is great. Our finances are good. Our relationships are good. Our health is good. And we're just in this peak of, we feel good, we feel confident, we feel safe, all of the things. And then something happens in any of these areas, and we, say we lose a job, say we lose a loved one, whatever happens, that always happens along the path of humanity, there's always a valley. But what happens is it depends on what you do while you're in the valley. No matter how shallow or deep that particular valley is, because you're going to always go back and have another peak. You're going to have another mountain. You're going to have another hill. It might not be a huge peak. But to me, this is one of those things that's like what we do while we're in the depths of what feels like despair, or it feels like so much suffering, even if it's, you're not looking at things outside of you. Maybe you are going through something really, really hard. Something that feels like, I wish I could pray it away. It feels like maybe prayer isn't working, or it feels like if this would just clear up, I can sleep better. I know that there are a lot of people that are going through maybe situations that feel as heavy as the one that I'm currently going through. And it's, I'm constantly reminded of one big word that came through during a meditation I had yesterday. And it was cool because one of my sisters flew up from California yesterday, and she's here with me actually she flew up on Thursday, but she's here for a week. And what was really lovely is her and I have kind of walked the same personal development, the same growth and learning, and we've walked along this path very similar. And so yesterday, Saturday, we went to, I have a little gym set up at my warehouse so that all my employees and myself and my husband, we all can work out there. Because to me, being physically fit is part of being healthy and being spiritually fit and being emotionally fit when our physical body is fit. So this is something that I felt it's important to provide that. So My sister flew up. Yesterday, Saturday, we went in. There was nobody working there because we're closed on Saturday. But we had a really good workout. And then it felt like it needed to be cleaned, and the floors needed to be vacuumed, the workout area, and the equipment needed to be wiped down. So together, her and I, we just gathered up our cleaning supplies and the vacuum and the shop vac, and we just powered through that whole area. It was, there's something super satisfying, especially when you are going through kind of hard times. There's something satisfying about being like cleaning an area. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. You're moving your body. You're clearing out. It feels like you're clearing out clutter and clearing out stuff. And after we got done, we were full of happiness. We just felt, it was like there was a satisfaction. And here I was with my sister, who I adore, and it was just this most beautiful, just this, you don't think that maybe getting yourself a hard workout and then cleaning and getting sweaty and dirty from not just the workout but cleaning would bring you so much joy, but it does. But then after we did that, and here we are in my beautiful warehouse, which has so much of the feeling of higher consciousness and just love. We put so much love into what we do, that and that's how we interact with each other when we're working, and you can really feel this high vibrational energy of love. So after we finished our little cleaning project, we were sitting, we came downstairs because the little place where we work out is upstairs. We came downstairs and we sat I have a little office there. And she sat in a chair that was where I'm sitting in my chair. And I said, hey, you know what? The vibe in here is so good. It's so pure. Let's do a quick meditation together. Let's just kind of sit in silence and maybe we can do a meditation on this situation that I'm going through, and I can stay out of the depths of sometimes these moments of despair, because it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve anyone I come in contact with. I find myself having moments of being cranky and being worried, and there's times I can't sleep. And so I said, let's just do a little meditation together. And I'm telling you, the word that came through, there were two big words that came through. One was trust the process. And the second word, which is, this one is really important for me because I have a hard time being patient. So the second big thing that came through is, Jane, you need to be patient. I will tell you that this actually, the inability to be patient with especially when I have a creative idea, or I have something that I want to put into, like a formula that I've just put into, it just came in through inspiration and all the research and all this stuff. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it next week or tomorrow. But there's a process. There's a process. And with this big situation I'm going through, there is a process to it. And I am finding that I give myself a ton of angst when I'm not being patient. So when we sat there, I sat there with this beautiful energy of my lovely sister. And her and I are the oldest two of this big family of 14 kids. So she's the oldest, and I am literally 11 months to the day younger than she is. So we're the same age, or I guess you call that Irish twins, but we're the same age, just number-wise, for exactly 1 month every single year. Because she was born on the 14th of June, and then I was born the next year on the 14th of May. So literally, we have a 1 month where we are the same age. In fact, it's funny, when we were growing up, because she's the oldest, there's this kind of place of status in any family, but a family like ours that's so big, being the oldest is a place of status. And so when I would have my birthday, when we were growing up, and I would turn the same age as her, even though she's still 11 months older, I would say, you're not the oldest anymore. And it would be this, she'd just be kind of, and so there's this thing growing up where, I took her off her throne of being the oldest for a whole month every year. And very quickly, this turned where when we became older, especially when we started getting into our 40s and our 50s, and now we're in our 60s, then it became, I'd have my birthday, and then we were the same age, and she'd be like, you're as old as me. So I have this beautiful lovely relationship with this sister that, I have a lovely relationship with all of my siblings. But there's a tight bond, a beautiful bond between me and her name is Joni. She's lovely, lovely, lovely. So we're sitting here in my building. We just worked out, we just cleaned, and we have this little beautiful meditation in this space that is full of so much love. And the two words that came in were trust the process, know that everything's going to be okay. Because as humans, we don't like uncertainty. We don't like to know. We do like to know. We need to know that we're going to be safe and that we're going to be able to put food on the table and keep a roof over our head, and our kids aren't going to get hurt. Like, we want to know, and to be able to let go and trust takes practice. And then the patience thing for me, that one I have to remind myself. In fact, sometimes I think I should just get a big old tattoo and just put it somewhere where I can see it all the time, and just be like, Jane, be patient. Let the process happen. And there are times that I'm forced to be patient because it just is what it is. But if I think I can help something along, or help something quicker, or help something resolve quicker, my brain is just like, what if you did this, and what if you did that, and what if you do this, and oh, I didn't think about that, and this big, beautiful meditation with these two words is kind of what I wanted to do a little bit of expansion on. I came up with a short list that I wrote in my journal, and I wanted to base this on Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. And I've talked about that before. In fact, a couple weeks ago, I told you guys I have this little list that is something I keep by my computer. So you can see name of the level, and it goes all the way down. It starts at 20 and it goes up as far as the number that he gave it. If I hold it straight there. Anyway, I would suggest that you you can go anywhere, go to Google, go anywhere, and just type in what is the scale of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. And you can literally just print this out. But that's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to give you a list of a few things that you can do when you feel like you're in one of those really hard, intense, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation moments in life. Situation or feelings or something, like I said, if something hard happens, if you've just lost a loved one, I know that I've had two siblings that have lost children. And to talk about intense pain, and not just for all of us, but it's to lose a child, I'm sure it's indescribable, and I had a lot of pain losing two of my nephews, but being the mother, if I was the mother, I can't imagine. So I think that we have these times that seem so emotionally painful, so dark, and so full of despair that we don't know how to bring ourselves out of them. So this is kind of what I wanted to shine a light on today, is to remind you that as a human being, we have peaks where we feel everything seems to be working for us. And then we have these valleys, and the valleys are tough. But what happens is what you do in the valleys is going to determine what your next peak looks like, because you're going to always have the peaks and valleys. In fact, I'll put a link to the name of the book. I don't remember the author, but it is called Peaks and Valleys. And it's an easy read. It's on Audible. In fact, that's how I actually read it, as I listened to it on Audible. And it was a beautiful read. I actually read it twice. And it's been a year or two since I read it. I might go back and visit that, but it has such an impact, especially when you're in one of those valleys and you have to remind yourself that it's temporary, right? Okay, so I want to go through this kind of quickly, just because I'm already I'm 14 minutes in. Okay, so here's what I wrote down. If we use Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness as a guide to evaluate the importance, the listed action items, so I wrote down 11 action items, they can provide insight into the potential impact on our overall well-being and spiritual growth. The scale, which ranges from low levels of consciousness, which are shame, guilt, and fear, to high levels, which are love, joy, enlightenment, etc., can help us understand the vibrational frequency of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. So here's the first one I wrote. Now, when we practice mindfulness, now this has been kind of a buzzword for a long time, the word mindfulness. So when we practice mindfulness measures on a scale of consciousness at 350, which is the level of acceptance. The emotion to practicing mindfulness is 350, which is acceptance. So here's what I wrote. Mindfulness encourages acceptance of the present moment, okay? Promoting emotional healing and helping us move away from lower vibrations like fear and anger. This piece is important for spiritual growth. We need to get to a point of acceptance. It is where it is. And 350 is high. It's good. It's like courage measures at 200. So when you're at 350 and you're practicing the art of being in the present moment, which makes you mindful, practicing mindfulness, you're in a place of acceptance. You know, that's a really beautiful place to start. The second one is what I hear is to seek support, because I got completely from my sister, and I get this from other members in my family. I get this from dear close friends, which over the last 4 years my friendship base has gone down to very tiny, but this brings me joy, because whenever I'm around these people, I only feel good, and I only feel supported. I feel so supported. Now, support actually measures on the scale of consciousness at 310, which the emotion of that is willingness. We are willing. We're willing to accept help. We're willing to look at other options, right? So when we seek support, it indicates a willingness to acknowledge one's challenges and to reach out for help. I think we become so stubborn. We think we're independent, we can do it ourselves, we don't need help, we got this, this is building my character. Sometimes we need support, and it's okay to get it. It's okay to offer that gift to other people. Like, think about how you would feel if someone denied you supporting them when you offered, and you could see clearly that they needed it. You know, in fact, on Friday, me and my sister were driving. We were driving home, and I needed to stop at the post office and put a letter into the mailbox. And as we were driving past a store. I think it was Michael's, even just Michael's craft store. There was a woman, an older woman, who was walking in, and she slipped on a patch of ice. Now there was a bunch of salt, ice melt that had been thrown down, but we've had so much snow that there's patches of ice and slush, and there's piles of snow everywhere because it's all been plowed into places off the road. But as we were driving past, and I was the one driving, I was going right past the front of Michael's, and I watched this woman fall, and I immediately put my car into park and looked both ways and jumped out, and she actually had fallen and hit in her head, and she was bleeding. And my sister jumped out, and another car stopped, and it was after he saw us, and it turned out he's like, I'm an EMT. Let me go get my bag. And we sat with her. Then we helped her up and moved her into the store. And so I say this because, that might sound like an extreme situation where, of course, anyone that sees that is going to jump out and help, because you realize that human beings are good, and we want to help each other. We want to be there for each other. So this was like, that actually, it reminded me that regardless of what is happening in my life and how I'm having these moments that feel really heavy, I am still who I am. I'm gonna always help my fellow human beings in any way I can. And she was so sweet, and she was so grateful. She was definitely rattled. And after I helped her get in, we got a chair for her. We kind of moved her toward the back so she could kind of have some privacy. And then the EMT kind of took over and helped her. And before I left, I gave her a big hug. I'm like, this is my fellow human being. This is a person who has a family and has a life and has experiences and has a rich history of where she came from. And like, if we look at our fellow humans that way, regardless of, I think we so quickly judge. Anyway, I kind of got off a little bit on that, but to me, when we not only seek support, but we accept it, we are vibrating at the level of consciousness of 310. Now remember, pure love resonates at 500, and courage at 200. So if you think about it, willingness is 310, which is awesome. Okay, now this one is really, really fun, and this is a great way to jump your consciousness and your vibrational energy really high really quickly, and that is gratitude journaling. And we all have heard this a million times. And what this does is this puts you at the level of 540. So, and that's joy. That's pure joy. When you sit down and you start to write what you are grateful for, you are increasing your level of consciousness and the vibrational energy that you personally are wrapping yourself in. So here's what I wrote to that. Gratitude journaling aligns with the higher vibrations of gratitude and joy. It fosters a positive mindset and spiritual growth. Boom, that's it, right? Just sit down and write what you're thankful for. If that's awkward, you need to sit down and practice this on a more regular basis, right? Because that's an easy way to get yourself up out of a funk, out of a bit of despair. That's a beautiful way that when you're on the top of a peak, you can literally put yourself almost to a place of enlightenment if you continue to gratitude journal. Because think about if you gratitude journal when your life is going well. Like that is an unbelievable power of energy and vibration and being in a state of high consciousness. I love that. Now, the next one I wrote down here was meditation. And this also vibrates at the level of joy, which is 540. Meditation can elevate consciousness to the level of joy, promoting inner peace and spiritual awareness. Just even a couple of minutes. Now, number 5, this is one of my favorites, very, very favorites. Now, number 5 is to watch for signs from your angels. This also puts you at the level of 540, which again is joy. And if you ever, like, your angels, this is what I believe, and if this kind of feels awkward to you about thinking about angels, just take this with a grain of salt. But for me, I believe that we get signs from our angels that basically let us know, hey, we're here. We're looking out for you. And I've had some really beautiful signs this week, and maybe I'll share them another time. Right now, they feel a little tight to my chest as far as in a way that's like, oh, I kind of need to protect this. It feels super precious. And look for signs. Sometimes they show up as a number. If you have a number, like say the number on a clock, keep showing up for you. If you turn on you look at your cell phone and it's always 5:14, in the evening, like not 5:13, not 5 o'clock, not 5:05, but on a regular basis, you keep seeing a number. There's actually a little book called Understanding Angel Numbers. I think it goes up to, I want to say 100. I think, or maybe it's 1,000. I think it goes up to 1,000. And I have it, and it goes up to 1,000. And it's actually a really cool little book. And I'll find that book before I post this video, and I'll put a link to it below, because the message that it gives you, especially when I keep seeing numbers, then I'll go, oh, I wonder what that message is. Then I go, oh, okay, I need to pay attention to that, and it's always spot on, always. Okay, now this one I really love too, and I'm going to go over this one quickly, but this is to visualize success. Visualize yourself in a different place. What it's going to be like when the situation, the sadness, whatever it is that you're dealing with. This also resonates at 310, which is willingness. And that is good, because visualizing visualizing success in any circumstance is really powerful. So visualization demonstrates a willingness to envision a positive outcome, though it may not reach the highest levels of consciousness. So if you visualize, and I think even affirmations can go along with that. That doesn't mean that's the highest level of consciousness, but it's a good start, because willingness is something that as you're moving up that scale, sometimes you might drop back down for moments. That's part of the journey. It's part of the experience. It's part of what we decided. Let's go down and experience all this stuff, and that's part of it. Connecting with nature also puts you at 350, which is acceptance, which is interesting, right? And I actually looked this up. I actually use Chat GPT, and I looked up the scale of consciousness. So this actually with these different things that help you through peaks or help you through the valleys, right? So connecting with nature connects us as individuals with the beauty and serenity of the natural world, which promotes acceptance and inner peace. So that's basically 350 is good, and that's acceptance. Okay, here's now the next one. This is number 8 out of 11. This one is to serve others. Find a way to serve others. And this is not hard. This is not hard, because there's so much out there that you can do to brighten someone's day. Whether it's to smile at someone or help someone carry heavy groceries to their car, or, in the situation where I was, with my sister helping this woman who slipped on the ice and, hurt her head. And, even though I would never wish that to happen, I was grateful that I was where I was, and I didn't just go, oh, she's fine, and I got stuff to do, and I'm busy, and I'm in a hurry, and someone else will help her. When I left her and I gave her a hug, I will tell you, that little act of service made me feel joy that I was able to do that. And so service to others, it will bring you joy. Service to others is a high vibrational act that aligns you with joy, love, and high spiritual growth. That's why it resonates so high. 540, you're past pure love. Pure love is a beautiful place to be, but you're past pure love. Now, number 9, this one is good, and this one is specific for me in trusting the journey. So this one actually is at 310, and this is willingness. Again, I'm willing. I'm willing to trust the journey. Just trust it. Trusting the journey is a step toward acceptance and a willingness to embrace life's challenges. Don't put your head in the sand and wait for someone to come and save you. Trust the journey and take action. I think that that's probably one of the biggest gifts that me and my siblings got, is neither one of our parents ever sat around. They were always taking action. And trust me, that flows off onto you as a child. If your mom's not, sitting, watching TV all day, my mom never, I don't remember my mom ever sitting down and watching TV, now that I think about it. And, when I was growing up, being second oldest of all these kids, my mom had stuff to do. She had laundry and diapers to change and kids to play with and dinner to make. And we all helped with all of these things. But my mom was, I know I talk about my dad a lot, and my mom a little bit here and there, but I'm telling you, my mom, Miss Anne Marie, she was one of those people that, talk about a place in heaven. Next month in February, it'll be 10 years since my mom passed. And this woman would have blown your socks off. She was chatty. She was positive. You stand in line at anywhere and she was your best friend after 10 minutes. Amazing, right? Okay, so emotional release is number 10. And I say this because I think it's super important to have outlets. This is letting someone serve you, letting someone be your listening ear, right? This actually resonates on the scale of consciousness at 350, which is acceptance. Okay? When I can accept and release these emotions, because the emotions that you're maybe hanging on to vibrate so low they keep you stuck. I also think this, when it comes to lower vibrational thoughts and energies, what I believe is I think we get not only in the habit of these, I think we get to the point where we love them. And what I mean by that is, think about someone who likes to complain about the government, or someone who likes to complain about politics, or someone who likes to complain about how bad someone is, or I mean, I'm sure you can relate to some of these things. It's like, what would they do because it's something that they perceive as so crooked or corrupt, which there are crooked, corrupt things out there. Always has been during all of humanity. And do they have the service of humanity at their, at the highest good? What can I do to be the most service to humanity? Like people who are in public positions, people who are in places of, say, justice or government, do they have the intention of what can I do to provide the highest good for the people that I serve? And I believe that there are people like that. But I believe that there maybe at this point in our human history that it's a system that it's kind of broken. And I believe that there are people who keep going down these rabbit holes of finding and cementing their opinions of and their knowledge and their knowing of what is so broken. And they love to go down the rabbit hole because it confirms that this piece of the government is broken, or this piece of the media is lying to us, and they keep watching these things, and it cements their total opinion on it. And they love it. Okay? And so I think if that describes you even a little bit, step back for a minute and say, is there a piece of this that I'm enjoying? Because to me, once you know, okay, I know this is happening, and in what resonates in the deepest part of my body is that this is true. But I'm not going to stay stuck there. And I'm not going to keep watching things, listening to things, and having conversations with people who reiterate and cement those in. And it might be fun to talk to someone about how bad this is and how bad that is. And we actually become where we like it. We like to talk about these things, and it confirms this for us. I don't want to be there. That's a place I don't want to be. I've got down enough of that, and it's been quite a while since I've released a lot of that, and I dip into places here and there to keep up with what's going on, and then I pull myself right out. And I would suggest that for you too. Let that be a part of an emotional release. So allowing emotions to flow, it's important for that to happen, and then processed is a form of self-acceptance, and then a step toward higher consciousness. Okay. Now the last one I wrote down here, which I think is really important, is to set boundaries. Now this also resonates at 310, which is willingness. Setting boundaries can help indicate a willingness to protect our energy and our well-being, though it may not reach the highest levels of consciousness, right? So I think that that's probably a really beautiful place to end it. Wow, almost 34 minutes. Sometimes I surprise myself when I turn the camera on. I think, okay, I can get through this list in probably 10 minutes. But I always have these little epiphanies that come in, and these, some of the situations that happened to me during the week from when I jumped on here and talked to you last time. But, I hope that you can make the most of your valleys and let them be a stepping stone up to the next peak. Because I believe that there is, my sister said this to me yesterday, there's a law, like the law of attraction or the law of gravity, but there's a law that when things get really, really bad, there's a law that they must become that much on the other end of the spectrum. So when you are in a deep valley, the next peak you're on is going to blow your mind. And it's going to be absolutely, utterly, beautifully spectacular. And sometimes you have to do these steps to help get yourself there. These are just some ideas. These are all just based on what I experience, what I've been experiencing, especially recently, where I will be honest, I feel sometimes like I'm at the bottom of a pool and I'm drowning, and I'm just like, if I can just see someone, if someone could just see me under here, throw me a lifeline so that I can pull myself out, if I could just get a breath of air. And then I go, okay, wait a minute, Jane. You're being dramatic. That's kind of dramatic. Is it kind of fun to be dramatic? No, it's not fun. I ask myself that. Is that fun? So right now, I'm taking the steps, I'm laying the foundation, and I've actually got some really beautiful things that are in the works because of what I am doing in this deep ravine that is my valley at the moment. So I hope your day is beautiful, you guys. I hope the upcoming week is amazing, and I hope you pay attention to the signs. Like there are signs that are coming to us that if we are aware and we can pay attention to them, I believe they will guide us. You know, sit in meditation, sit in a prayer, sit in stillness. You know, there's one little thing I heard that I'm going to share before I end this. This was from a guy named Michael Sandler, and he has a really beautiful channel. He's this cutest, quirky personality. He wears these great glasses that just fit his face. Well, he did this little, it's like a tapping exercise. And if you've heard of tapping, this also can raise your consciousness, I believe. And maybe I'll cover that in another video. But and this is, you know, I think that some of these things that come across my feed, especially this particular podcast that he did just this week, was something I watched it while I was on my elliptical, while I was working. And there's this one little exercise he has you do where you put your hand over your heart and you do some tapping and you say 3 times, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. And you say, I am loved, I am loved, I am loved. And you can put anything into this tapping over your heart that you need in that moment. And I think that those are, for some of us, those are the two, that's the 2 biggest ones that came through for me, is that I'm safe and that I am loved. And these are powerful little things that you can do to help lift yourself up. So I hope, with all of that being said, that you have an amazing week ahead, that you find joy in the little things that can help raise your consciousness, because it's a wonderful way to walk through this life and walk through these times and know that you are a pure, beautiful child of God. You are a piece of creation. You are a piece of pure, untethered consciousness. This is really who we are. And we're here to help each other and support each other. And I know that for a fact that that's my mission. My mission is to be here to help others. Like, I feel this to the deep part of my bones. I've never once said, I wish I could retire. I don't. I talk to someone and I know I help them along their health journey, and I feel on a peak every single time. So thank you guys for all your love and support. It's a lovely journey to be on, right? And I hope you have a great week ahead, and we will talk to you next time.